Welcome back to the frequency. Here's another mystery teaching of ancient Egypt. This is Reality Files, where we break down the knowledge of self and, I guess, the awakening life. So me and Thy always seek. You can go check out this YouTube channel. I'm gonna be covering this video, and she has such concise, synthesized knowledge that I really enjoy, and I'm just gonna be adding my commentary, doing as I do, and we're going to be drawing from a lot of ancient wisdom, cross-culturally, and the mystery teachings. So I hope you enjoy, and if you do, hit that like and share button, and make sure to subscribe. Got more coming at you. Right before we dive in here, this kind of esoteric knowledge, it's not for everybody. It's more for the initiated, quote-unquote. But if you enjoyed these kind of teachings, make sure to subscribe to Immortal Truth, link in the description. It's my channel for the Arcanum, just unveiling this kind of knowledge, and I go way deeper. So in this video, I'm going to try to keep it between levels 5 and 7. The 8 and 9 stuff, that's the secrets. But, and the second thing is, the esoteric knowledge, my friends, this stuff is great to learn. I love breaking this down and dwelling in the mysteries, right? That's how you attain the gnosis, but it's not everything. It's far from everything. There's a lot of earthly and worldly wisdom that is far more important for a lot of us, but that shouldn't stop you from dwelling in the mysteries and unlocking the highest keys so we can level up. But let's dive in without further ado.
Continue to follow the trail of scattered pieces left to us. We can reclaim our divinity once again. But for us to know our divinity, we must also know thyself. As the ancient Egyptian proverb tells us, the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whosoever shall know himself shall find it. And this is because we are all ethereal beings, but we have forgotten this. So before we can unlock and understand the meanings within all the symbolism, we must first know who we are. This is where the key of the tarot, along with the newly uncovered knowledge from ancient Egypt, help us to reveal the truth that has been hidden for so long.
Make sure you watch the first video, but yeah, this truth has been hidden for a long time. We got the Inquisition, the Crusades, the Vatican hiding this knowledge since day one. We got the Jesuits just crushing this because they don't want you tapping into the knowledge of self, the ancient wisdom, which unlocks your true power as a creator out here. It unlocks what you are as a being. And she likes to draw on the tarot, but my friends, there's many different systems, right? There's Kabbalah, there's the tarot, there's Tantra, yogic practices, right? And all these different cultures is one lens to view the same truth from and reach the same truth through experience and reason, okay? But for all these teachings, for all the mystery teachings, I always want to just note that Hermetic philosophy is a foundational staple. You must understand Hermetic philosophy, okay? Or not understand it, but have that in your mind, okay? So read the Kabbalion, check out Hermes, the Divine Pymander, and listen to some Manly P. Hall maybe. That'll definitely get you on the basics, because this kind of knowledge, it's vast, it's interwoven, it's interconnected, and you must have a mind for it. Hermetics master key. Please get Hermetics under your belt and start diving in there, and a lot of this will make more sense continuing on.
To begin to know ourselves, we must once again think to the Fibonacci sequence and remember that everything expands and grows using this sequence along with sacred geometry.
Speaking of the Fibonacci and Phi and the golden ratio, when I think about that, I always think back to Leonardo da Vinci, right? And he's always got this divine proportioning in all of his paintings and all his drawings. And that reveals so much about the aesthetics of nature and the nature of truth and objectivity. But, my friends, I just always laugh when I think back to like the greatest scientists or the greatest earth movers per se, like guys who really just stepped it up and took massive leaps forward in terms of progress. So like Galileo, Leonardo da Vinci, like Isaac Newton, all these dudes, Pythagoras, all of them, they were alchemists, okay? They studied the ancient mysteries. In fact, like someone like Leonardo da Vinci, one of the perhaps most creative and like genius individuals to ever walk the face of the earth, besides Nikola Tesla, and both of them, all of them, dwelled in the mysteries. They studied the ancient wisdom. They studied the laws of nature. They were all way deeper into the alchemy of things than on the surface level, like advents in, whatever they did. So it's that's just a funny little fact. So maybe a little encouragement to dive deeper.
When we use this universal sequence of numbers and the golden mean spiral, along with the tarot, we begin to see this hidden information revealed. Everything in our universe births, expands, and grows using this blueprint. When we look further into the golden mean spiral, we can see it is divided into sections. When we correspond these golden mean sections to the major arcana in the tarot, we begin to understand the evolution of our souls and our true divinity. However, before we start down the path of the tarot and begin to unravel their secrets, let's first get a bit of history to this key that has been left to us. The tarot's original author is unknown. It is also uncertain as to exactly where and when the tarot came into existence. But it is believed...
Some more New Age deceptions where we shedding light on truth out here. This whole divination and thing that's sprung up around tarot and like forecasting, like everyone, when they think of the tarot, they think of some some artistic cards that like are the fortune tellers and the gypsies are always bringing out to like foretell future and stuff. My friends, the tarot is the map to your psyche, your psychology, your mind. The tarot is the story of you. Okay? And a lot of occultists and like someone like Aleister Crowley, in fact, would tell you to study the tarot like every day. It's one of the staples in a lot of the mystery teachings and secret societies that have sprung up around this stuff. So no, it's not some kind of like divination. It can be used for that, but the much more powerful purpose is understanding yourself and the multiplicity of mind. Continuing.
Believed that it originated in ancient Egypt about 3,500 years ago and was brought to Europe by the Rom or Gypsies as they traveled to Europe.
This shit is way older than 3,000 years, but...
from India. Due to the increasing religious intolerance of the Antichrist Catholics and their attempts to suppress esoteric knowledge and sacred truths from humanity, the Magi who were in possession of this sacred knowledge were forced to encrypt these secrets into the tarot cards to keep this ancient wisdom safe from manipulation and destruction. The tarot was devised using the principles of the Kabbalah, but we can also see symbolism from ancient Egypt, the runes, astrology, and numerology. And they also equate to the chakras and color symbolism. The tarot...
My friends, the nature of esoteric knowledge and, I guess, like ancient wisdom or the mysteries, all things are interconnected. To attain gnosis, it is the interconnecting and like divine insight into the connections between numbers, frequency, chakras, tarot, archetypes, right? Like every part of the body is correspondent to numbers, to astrology, to like star signs and planets, to tarot cards, to frequencies, to colors. So this whole interwoven connection gives you and unveils the knowledge of self through the attainment of gnosis or spiritual knowing, right? It is not some kind of analytical thing that you can like reason through. It's not even base intelligence. It is logos, divine knowing, okay? And that is kind of like the path or the goal of studying the ancient knowledge, the esoteric wisdom. And so, yeah, I feel like a lot of people get lost in systems. Oh, they're going to get into astrology. Oh, they're going to study Kabbalah. And like my advice to you is study everything. Don't get trapped deep in any one thing. Attain all of like on the surface, right? And then go deep with your own insight, intuition, and like inspiration as you like create knowledge, okay? Create knowing. Link things together. Like you could go get lost in numerology for all, like ages and ages, right? But in each system, the numbers kind of mean something else. And it's basically combining and realizing your own understanding, right? Until you can see the symbolism and archetypes in nature and within yourself, right? And usually this comes through like images, and it's this knowing that you create from within, right? And it's the ability to pierce through all layers of this reality, right? Even if you're unfamiliar with something, you understand the base function, the principles, the combination that create anything, right? So therefore, even in fields unknown, you can pierce through that and understand the inner workings, right? It's kind of like in math. You could remember and regurgitate all the formulas, or you can figure out how the formulas are created, right? If that makes sense, diving in deeper.
Consists of a deck of 78 cards in total. This is made to help us decode this hidden information. So now we have an understanding of the importance of the tarot, and that they are not just some novelty for telling fortunes, as we've...
The tarot, also, quick note, how we just talked about the interconnection between all the symbolism and all the numbers and all the frequencies and all the archetypes, right? All this is essentially symbolism. And the tarot is kind of a map for the symbolism once you can understand how to read it. So, within each tarot card, there's a number, right? There's a zodiacal sign, there are planets, there are symbols, such as flowers, such as a mountain, such as a star, right? And all of these are showing you a mandala, like this massive symbol, right? And that is the card itself. It's symbolism within symbolism. And I guess attaining that whole package is kind of the key with the tarot.
Been led to believe. So let's now look at the first card. The first card is the 0 card. And not only does the 0 card represent the beginning of the major arcana in the tarot, but it is also the first number of the Fibonacci sequence. This card, number 0, equates to the Fool and represents Orion, the location for the God consciousness of our material realm. We can see this also in the Visconti tarot cards that surfaced around the 15th century. On this card, you can see a clear depiction of Orion with his club and feathers in his hair. We see that the Rider-Waite tarot card also shows the Fool with a feather in his cap. And if we look at ancient constellation maps, we see that Orion are symbolic of the godlight of Orion. Or as with the shells of scarab beetles, are actually formed in a way where they refract wavelengths of light originates from. This term was used to describe a great achievement or special honor. And of course, for those whose hearts are equal in weight to the feather, that is a great achievement and special honor.
The feather. The feather, my friends, equates to purity or nobility, as she's speaking of, right? And you can see this at the weighing of the heart ceremony in ancient Egypt, where your heart is weighed against a feather, right? So how'd you live your life, my friends? This is very important, because all the esoteric knowledge, it can get really up here, up in space, up in the air clouds, right? But all of it relates back to very worldly applications in your day-to-day life, right? This kind of wisdom, the wisdom of the feather and the weighing of the heart ceremony, that's not just some kind of story, right? That is an expression to make you reflect on the nature of life, on the fact that if you don't do what your heart desires, if you're not led by the heart, right, you're going to die with a lot of regret. If you're not putting, like, when you get to the end of your life and you look back on this existence and what you did, is your heart going to smile or is it going to frown? Is your soul going to excite? Are you going to get the t-shirt and the ticket out of here and just be like, yep, past that realm, going on to the next one, right? And so that this whole symbol and story makes you reflect on the nature of your existence right now and how you're living your life, right? And perhaps that can guide you to some much needed change that we all have to make along our paths and continue to remind us to live by the heart, right? To strive for that. You see, I guess God, this image of God, He wants you to do what is good for man. God doesn't want you to serve Him and do what's good for God. God wants you to do what is good for man, okay? And what is good for man is to live by the heart. To live like, I guess, authentic. We'll get deeper into that.
Indeed, for they are rewarded with the highest consciousness in Zep Tepi, or Aru, the field of reeds, as the ancient Egyptians described their Garden of Eden. We must pay attention to some of these old sayings, as they are actually remnants of truths that have managed to survive. Now, when we look to the Kabbalah tree of life, we see that the very top Sephiroth is also connected to Orion and the Fool card. This Sephiroth is called Ketha, which means crown. It is also interpreted as both the topmost and regal crown.
My friends, on the Kabbalah tree of life right here, just want to point out two things to you. Right to the right of God is wisdom, chokmah. To the left is understanding, bina. Understanding and wisdom sit right next to God, Kather. Understanding, wisdom, truth, knowledge are those things closest to God. So, a lot of people out here in the New Age and stuff, it's all about love and acceptance and, just no judgment, go with the flow, healing and all this stuff. Those are all very feminine qualities, number one. And it's a warped feminism. You can go watch my Spiritual Deceptions, number 3, if you want. And nothing bad about that. Like love and healing and white light, that's all great. But my friends, the ancients would tell you that knowledge, wisdom, understanding, truth, courage, those things are closest to God, right? Love is important, and we're supposed to be led by the heart. But what is the goal? What is the attainment in this realm? And it is those things. A lot of people would fight me on that, but I don't give a shit. Like, I'm telling you, the gnosis, the knowledge of God, is what saves you. That's a direct quote from Hermes. Continuing on.
Just like the Crown Chakra, it sits above the head and is not a part of the body. And this is also why it is known as the crown, because a crown is worn above the head.
I really gotta break down the esoteric blueprints, the energetic anatomy. She does reveal some deeper truths, but I just have so much knowledge and information archived away to one day create like master blueprints, but it's very hard to dive in there. My friends, the crown isn't necessarily something like that you open. What I also want to say, the crown really, the symbolism of the crown would in fact be Doth, the crown of knowledge. Doth being that, like, I don't know, that would be a whole different video. But yeah, I need to make blueprints on the energetic anatomy. I have made a few over at Immortal Truth, and I'm gonna yeah, whatever.
The symbol of the crown is also seen in many alchemical drawings of the male and female twin souls, and is symbolic of the reuniting with God consciousness. And
As within, so without. As without, so within. This image right here. She's going to talk about the uniting of the divine twin souls, right? The male and the female. Your literal soul other half, right? We were once a circle. We were fractured. We were separated, right? And your complementary, like divine half, is incarnated on the physical realm, is like the teaching that she propagates. And Jesus and Mary Magdalene, when they came together, right? That's when like the Messiah was born. When God has a direct link into the physical plane because the divine twin souls have manifested. So I don't know, you can buy in or study that whole ideology, and I definitely vibe with a lot of it. But this symbol is showing the way to realign the body and the esoteric and energetic anatomy. Okay, this is showing the positive pole and the negative pole. Okay, which is on the right and left side of your body. These are the nadis in Hindu thought on the subtle energetic anatomy, right? And the nadis is also the pathway of Kundalini, okay? So by balancing the poles, like in the Emerald Tablet, it always talks about balancing the poles. It's talk about balancing the sun and the moon, balancing the left and the right side of the body so that it can rise slowly with great ingenuity, right? So that Kundalini can rise by unifying the positive and the negative or magnetic, right? The electric and magnetic. The divine masculine and divine feminine energies within you, the right and the left side of the brain, by aligning the right side of the body and the left side of the body, right? And taking the middle way up the center, right? And climbing Caduceus, Hermes' pole, which is the spine, which is the straight and narrow pathway, my friends. You awaken like the Sushumna Nadi, or basically the subtle energy that flows through your spine, right along the where the central nervous system is, where all the bloodstream is. It's all along your spine, okay? As above, so below. The body is a blueprint for the energetic anatomy. Your spine is the straight and narrow pathway which you must open, right? Like all these people talking about opening chakras and whatnot, it's all BS, right? You might get a little flare here and there, but in fact, opening the chakras and opening up the spine through unifying the poles by balancing the poles, right? And rising the Kundalini, the serpent wisdom, that basically illuminates your body. It allows the mind and the body and the soul essence to kind of like merge in a way. That gets much deeper, but just know that all the symbolism in alchemy with the sun and the moon, it definitely applies to elements, and it definitely applies to many things because all of it is interconnected. But know that probably the most practical and purposeful application of this is the symbol of unification between these two energies, which are present in every aspect of you. How the body is built physically, right? You have yin yang in your body, like the muscles, and I could go through the whole anatomy of that. You have yin yang in your mind, how you think, how you act. Your psychology is built on the divine masculine and divine feminine principles. Go watch my video about the yin yang, divine masculine. But, so unifying those. And this whole symbol right here that we're looking at is in fact the symbol of the crown chakra per se. Because the crown chakra is the third eye is the unification of the divine masculine and divine feminine. It is a unification and ascent of the Kundalini, right? And when you open up the third eye, Kether is illuminated, right? The crown opens, the lotus blossoms. So, yeah. Really, there's not 7 chakras. There's in fact 3, and a 3 and a 6 system is the best one to work through, because the 7th and 8th chakra open when you align the hearts of the system. When you open and activate the system, your connection to the Father above opens, right? It's the only chakra that blossoms downward or looks downward. Getting way deeper, but yeah, I just wanted to lay down some keys within that, but probably got a little too deep.
Thus being crowned. This is why royalty wears crowns, as they are emanating this crowning of God consciousness. However, they are nothing but mere frauds that took the opportunity to enslave the masses and crown themselves. All of the other Sephirot below the crown are likened to the body, which starts with the head, depicted by Chokmah and Binah, with Daleth symbolic of the Third Eye Chakra directly located in the middle. The third eye is also...
I disagree. Yeah. The Third Eye Chakra is in fact located right on Doth, which is just below. If you could see Doth, it's number 4, and it's actually hidden. It's in the ethereal. And why it is Doth and not Daleth, or this line right here, is in fact because Doth is it's hidden on the tree of life because it's in the ether, right? And Doth is knowledge. Doth is the crown of knowledge. Doth is spiritual gnosis, insight into all mysteries, the cracking of the veil of this realm. It's the unveiling of Isis, okay? The third eye illuminates when you open Doth. They're both the same symbolism, okay? And Doth is the door, is the doorway. D in Hebrew is doorway, right? And this 14th line, Daleth. So Doth lies in the center of your brain, or center of your head, right? And there's many actual chakras throughout your whole entire head. There's many chakras. There's many. Why I say there's a system of 3 and 6 is because that's like the system for activation. Like you could go study the ancient Egyptian 119 chakras, or like whatever. I don't care. There's 30,000 different systems for subtle energy work. It's because all these systems are describing the same thing, and how that yogi or that master described what he felt at one point during a time when consciousness was ascended, which was much higher within that being, right? And he described what he felt in that system and how he worked through the subtle energies to illuminate. And so they're all different, but they're many elements the same, and that's why I need to go into that. But you have many chakras within your head, right? You have like the vestibular chakra in your ear. You got you go look at Manly P. Hall on this. You got the pituitary, the pineal, and the third ventricle, which are all basically portals in your head. And furthermore, all chakras in your body, or all energetic centers, are all portals for ethereal energy that line your spine and manifest into the body from the spine. All those in the spine are actually manifestations from the first point in your mind. So all chakras, in fact, exist in your head. And when you open a chakra, or when you activate a part of your spine, it corresponds to a body part. So a large region of your body vibrates, illuminates, pops, creaks, metamorphosizes, transforms, activates, right? And that part of your spine opens up so ethereal energy can flow through it. And furthermore, that part of your spine is connected to a point in your head, in your brain, in this area, right? So this is why activation occurs in 3 parts. And activation also exists completely within the mind, I guess you could say, because, yeah, if you know anything about how the body's linked up, the mind is carried down, all electrical impulse down the spine to a corresponding body part, and all of it is interconnected. So what I'm saying here is that in energy work, it is a full body thing. It's not focusing on a single chakra. It is in fact creating the symbol and allowing that to flush through your body to open up that chakra and brain center and corresponding ethereal portals. And then in this image, So Doth would be the third eye, and that's what got me started on that. I really, really need to make energetic anatomy blueprints, multiple, just so everyone can get the base of what I'm talking about. I do tons of energy work. I've studied the subtle energetic anatomies cross-culturally for over, like, just probably a year and a half now, but deep, doing energy work and working with those systems all the time. And yeah, I just have so much to unveil. It's this a massive knowledge. It's kind of overwhelming, so I don't know where to start, but
So related to the pineal gland, if we are to take the perspective of this area in the physical and not the ethereal body. Daleth is also called the door, or the door of the tent, and is symbolic for this energy point being the gateway to God consciousness.
You know what? What I was just saying about Doth and the third eye, Doth is in fact right there. It is the door. Doth isn't on this chart that she's using. It would be kind of like just a faint outline behind this cross right here. Yeah, I thought, whatever. It doesn't matter. Doth is the door, is the third eye. It's right below the crown, and it's in the ethereal, just like the third eye, just like Logos. It's the ethereal portal into the body. That makes sense. And it is the doorway to the anointing, to the crowning, to God. So he who knocks shall enter. Knock on the door, my friends.
Which is located at the crown. If we look to Hindu mythology, we see that they saw the third eye chakra as a gateway, for they believed that the spiritual energy from the external environments could enter their body through this gateway, and hence they take the utmost precaution in protecting it with spiritually positive protecting forces. From this point in the Kabbalah tree...
Why do you think I always wear a hat? Got my third eye sunglasses on.
It descends downwards until it reaches the root chakra that equates to Malkuth. But the symbolism on the full...
The whole symbolism in the Kabbalah, like Malkuth, the number 10, the root chakra, whatever. Everyone, like, that's just kind of absorbing this knowledge and talking about it, like, they think of that, like, Malkuth as, like, bad, as, like, earthly base existence. My friends, the Kabbalah is, in fact, the representation of the divine energy descending, right? It's after Kundalini already arose. Malkuth is the kingdom because it is the kingdom established on earth and in the body. When you illuminate Malkuth, you illuminate the earthly vehicle. You illuminate the physical. It is the spiritual, and it is spiritualizing the material. Okay, Malkuth is the kingdom of heaven on earth, the third temple of Jerusalem. So it descends, right? So Malkuth is also linked up to, like, base desires and whatnot. And if you look into the Zohar actually describes the descent of the illumination, or the radiance, the Zohar itself, which means the brilliance, the light, the fire. Yeah, that could get really deep. But
is not only symbolic of Orion, our God consciousness, it is also symbolizing the potential soul before it has been birthed into existence and splits into twin souls of male and female. Once again,
that whole idea is so important. The creation story, or the knowledge of yourself on the soul or spiritual level, to arrive at that kind of, like, knowing that we are all working on, is tremendously powerful, and is the only way to illuminate your path here, to know what you're supposed to be doing and get on the right course. And it is with the knowledge of what this existence is and means. And what I want to say here is the ancient Egyptians, the Incans, or in Peru and South America, the Boreans or Hyperboreans, and the Celtics and the Nordic mythology, it all speaks of a splitting of a soul, this eternal circle that you should go read the Gnosis Book of Resurrection to understand this. But basically, you and your anima or animus in Carl Jung's terms, which is like your divine second half, the gatekeeper to the self, was separated from you on a soul level. And your unification with her or with him, here's the tricky part. It occurs and arrives in your mind. It is the pursuit of the eternal return. The union back with your soul mate. But my friends, one of the grandest deceptions on the face of the earth, the most desecrated symbol in the entire world, and what they have done, the mental programming, is they make you all seek it on the earth. They make you seek it in the physical. Physical fornication and like lust is glorified. It is the grandest scheme to keep you in bondage to the earth. My friends, your sexual energies, your that whole thing, is supposed to be used to transmute and for spiritual evolution. Like the less you ejaculate, the closer you are to Nikola Tesla and Leonardo da Vinci. Furthermore, this whole thing about this reunion on the physical level is not supposed. It's all about unification in the mind. It is about the loveless love, right? The path of the warrior on the eternal return. It is the path of striving and realizing and falling out of love, right? And making your way back to it and union in the mind. The crazy thing is, as you get closer, as you discover this kind of gnosis and realize that you are eternally linked, the divine twin souls are eternally linked mentally, you start to integrate it, right? And when you integrate it, you are integrating the kundalini, the ethereal energy, right? And this whole link between kundalini, vril, or subtle energy work like I do, and that link to your divine twin soul is very crazy. Because in a lot of the ancient books, this is getting really deep right here, but in a lot of the ancient books, it talks about the combination in the ether or non-physical bodies before it manifests on earth. So in essence, when Jesus was out there doing his 40-day fast in the desert and drinking DMT from his third eye, he was unifying his mind, his soul essence, his essence of energy back with his divine twin soul, his second half, right? Which was separated from him by a veil in the ethereal energy or the ethereal fields, right? And when you unify there, it'll manifest in the physical with time. But essentially, the note I want to make right here is there's a grand deception out here, a massive desecration of symbolism with the woman, and it's faulty to seek that kind of connection, that fulfillment in the physical. And I'm not ripping on nor saying it's evil to have a wife or have kids or have a husband or whatever. I am saying that your sexual energy is the most potent creative energy on the face of the earth. Use it towards spiritual ascent and transmutation of I guess growth. And furthermore, if you are single, Jesus would advise you to stay single. Go read the Gospel of Thomas and read the. If you look into Gnosticism at all, see what it says about the woman and physical fornication or sex, and see what it says about the woman. Okay, and go listen to the Gospel of the Savior, or where this is where Jesus really dives deep, and I'm gonna unveil that whole entire document later on, but. Continuing.
If we look to Ketha on the Kabbalah tree of life, It represents the primal stirrings of intent in the Ein Sof. Ein Sof in Kabbalah means God prior to his self-manifestation. And this is because God manifests a part of himself within the souls that are birthed onto the material realm. It is also said that Kether is so sublime, it is called in the Zohar the most hidden of all hidden things, and is completely incomprehensible to man. This is once again speaking of God, for what else but God can be so incomprehensible to man? On the card we see the Fool is being depicted in the ethereal, walking towards the cliff's edge in innocence, completely unaware that he is about to be manifest onto the material realm below. In his pack he is holding the unknown potential of the souls. We see this is also connected to Keith.
The Fool is a symbol of you, or the soul, or the fracture of God, before it stepped off the cliff and fell into density, fell through the layers of the firmament, right, and landed himself split up from his divine second half, right, into the tarot cards, into the path, the journey.
In that it contains all the potential for content, though it contains no content itself, and is therefore called nothing. And we know the number 0 also equates to nothing. The soul's purity is
0 equates to everything. I don't know what she's tripping on.
Also symbolized by the white flower. At this point, and the dog is represented Theos in the Aegean Sea.
Let's get to something
Orion's
interesting.
belt and Sirius also line up with significant locations of ancient sites around the world.
Yo, if you haven't discovered the mysteries of Orion's belt, I highly encourage that quest. My friends, wouldn't you think that after seeing the Egyptian pyramids, these massive megalithic monuments that's so far beyond like our conception, knowledge, and even power to create in this day, when they all point towards a constellation and exactly line up with stars in Orion, and then you look at, I don't know, the Mayans, the Aztec, the Incan, so many, like every ancient culture built pyramids of some kind, and going way deeper into the pyramids that are hidden in, like controversial or conspiracy archaeology, like the what they don't want you to know about. They're all pointing towards Orion. Why? My friends, the Orion trapezium, go look at Danny Wilton on Orion. Orion is like directly connected to the creation of our soul and like our link home for some reason. And the ancients showed us this in so many ways. The mathematics, the Fibonacci, like the phi and the ratios and the proportioning between sacred sites and Orion, and it's all perfect. Go check that out. Go dive into those mysteries. Get your mind blown.
We see this with the Hopi Messus that lines up with Orion's belt. And then we see
And the Hopi, obviously.
Sirius correlating to the Chaco Canyon. In Mexico City, the Street of the Dead lines up with Orion's belt. And Sirius, see this with the Hopi Messus that lines up with Orion's belt.
I just
And then
want
we
to
see
make a note here.
Sirius correlating to the Chaco Canyon. In Mexico City, the Street of the Dead lines up with...
Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys with some master keys to unlocking the knowledge or the information, and that is, whenever you see something like the Street of the Dead or the Book of the Dead, know that the naming in the translation and interpretation has been fucked and desecrated and hidden and woven in lies. The Book of the Dead is in fact the book of awakening the divine being within. The Book of the Dead maps the soul's, journey through the physical life and the conscious death, the living death, right? The crucifixion, so that you can resurrect as the illuminated being, okay? The crucifixion is in fact the crowning of Thoth, the crown of knowledge. I could go into the whole symbolism of Christ on the cross and what that all means, and it's the opening of Thoth, the door, right? And I guess the physical death as the spirit, it's the rebirth, right? My friends, the mystery of the twice born, quote, just mark my words right here. The mystery of the twice born is the greatest mystery of them all. The mystery of the twice born, from the Colburn Bible, from the ancient Egypt, from just all mystery teachings. You can listen to Manly P. Hall. You can just do a search through the Colburn Bible for twice born. Really just go look up this stuff, my friends. The deeper esoteric understanding of rebirth, the twice born, is truly the spiritual or godly incarnate, okay? It is the crucifixion and resurrection as the awakened individual. So the street of death is in fact the pathway running up and down the spine. This is the straight and narrow. The street of death is almost kind of honestly, I haven't studied it at all, but I'm just going to link this up with other things I know, and I'm probably going to hit it pretty close. And that is the Nile River, my friends, in ancient Egypt is the symbol for the pathway up and down the spine. So when the anointing occurs, when the anointing oils flow down the spine, they illuminate the body, okay? And this gets into the endocrine system and the oils of the body and how the nature of the ether or the subtle energy flows through the body, which is all linked up to the endocrine system and glands, which secrete oils, right? And the endocrine system secretes chemicals into the blood. But the oils of the body, my friends, is the cause of how you feel and your state of being and your state of vibrance, right? When your chemicals are fucked up in the blood, your oils are fucked up. Balancing your oils. Go look at the book, The God Man. But balancing the oils, and in fact, the anointing is illumination of the body, right? And it flows down the central nadi, the Sushumna, or the street of the dead, the Nile River flowing, right? As it flows from the head to the root, right? And when you awaken this flow, this is what activates the body. This is the Christ thing, I guess. You can look into Santos Bonacci work on this. But no, here's, again, the major key for you is the Book of the Dead, the Street of the Dead, the Pyramid of the Dead, whatever. It's all relating to not this death and this misunderstood idea of death that we all have. This our image of death in the modern world, in the modern society, is so fucked up. It's so cursed and obscure and feared and so much, right? So that's why when people hear the Book of the Dead and the Book of the Dead being the instructions for the soul in the afterlife, my friends, Hermes and Hermeticism, the staple, the foundational work for this kind of knowledge. Hermes talks about the living death, the conscious death, the death that you don't know. I forget where it says this in the Divine Pymander, but this is what it's talking about, my friends. The Book of the Dead, the Street of the Dead, it's not referring to some kind of afterlife and some kind of belief system they had, some kind of faith on no, it's all based on knowledge. It's based on the crucifixion, the resurrection, the crowning, anointing, and rebirth of you. Okay? Mark my words right there. That wasn't well explained, but I hope you got a piece of that. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and share button. I'm going to leave you with some more. I might go in deeper, but I just want to I'm going to be wrapping things up. Anyway, go check out Immortal Truth. I'm breaking down esoteric blueprints over there. I go way deeper into things we talked about here, and some even touching on some level 8 and 9 knowledge for the initiated. But I do hope you enjoyed. Let's just see what happens here.
Orion's belt, and Sirius correlates to the largest pyramid complex in the world, Cholula, the Great Pyramid of the Sun. In Egypt, we see that Orion's belt lines up with the 3 pyramids of Giza, and Sirius lines up to Heliopolis, which is one of the oldest cities in Egypt, and also known as the City of the Sun. So we can see that Orion and Sirius are definitely related to each other and have an important connection. So it is not surprising we see the symbol for Sirius in the form of a white polarity of positive.
Alright, my friends, that was it. Go check out The I Always Seek. Great YouTube channel. Again, this is Reality Files, the mystery teachings, the hidden knowledge of self. Those ancient keys to leveling up. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe, hit that like and share button, and comment below. Make sure to comment below. If you want me to dive into prophecy, into breaking down specific ancient texts, sacred books, like just kind of like gems of where I've gotten this wisdom. If you like this format or style of video, in which I just did, also really just, do you want to see prophecy? Do you want to see energetic anatomy and energetic blueprints? Do you want to see breakdowns of specific systems or specific sacred texts? I can do all those things. So this is the mystery teachings. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.